Hello, I am so glad you could join me today. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Guys, it is Christmas is in the air. We just have a few more days before Christmas. I'm excited. I love the Christmas holiday, and I know a lot of you do too. But one thing people in the islands do is they make sure they bake the cakes for the holiday. So you don't just do black cake, but a lot of people do the pound cake. In Barbados we call it pudding. So I am going to be making some Bajan pudding today. That's what it's called in Barbados, pudding. I'm going to be making some today. And one thing I'm going to be using, guys, is some mellow cream. I had some mellow cream butter for the longest time in the refrigerator. Forgot all about it. So I'm going to be using some of this today in my cakes. Okay, guys? So I am making 2 pounds of pudding. Let me explain pudding, because usually in America, pudding here in the US is a little different from what we call pudding in Barbados. Pudding here is something like a yogurt that you eat. It's come in a little container that you eat with a spoon as a dessert. Okay, so that's what it's called, pudding here. So I know people are going to get confused when I say pudding. They're thinking I'm making this kind of liquid texture thing. No, pudding is a cake. It's like a pound cake. We call it pound cake here in the US, but in Barbados I grew up calling it pudding. We're making some pudding. So today I am making pudding for the Christmas holiday. And guys, you're saying, what are you doing with all those cakes? Well, I make cakes and I give them to some friends and family. So I'm making today 2 pounds, because I probably will not do this again until Christmas of next year. So instead of making 1 pound, I'm making 2 pounds. So far in my pan here, I have 2 pounds of sugar. Okay, this is brown sugar, and I have a little white sugar that's mixed with that. So that's 2 pounds. And over here I have 2 pounds of butter. This is a lot of butter, guys. Can't eat this thing too often. This is a lot of butter in here. And as I said, this is mellow cream butter and just regular butter. So I'm going to add this to my sugar. This is what people make in the islands around the holidays, not just Barbados, throughout the island. Everybody is getting ready for the holidays, and they're eating lots of cake. Okay, so I am going to beat this up for a while until it becomes nice and fluffy. Now, if you have a KitchenAid, you can use that. If you don't have a KitchenAid, you use your hand mixer. And if you do not have a hand mixer, you're gonna go the old-fashioned way. You're gonna get a pot spoon, a big old pot spoon, and you're gonna beat it until all your sugar has melted. And it's nice. My grandma used to make me beat that. And I had to sit there and beat, and then she'll go outside, do whatever, and then she'll come back in and she'll test the sugar grain between her fingers like that. And then she feel the sugar, she'll say continue beating. And I'm like so mad, because I want to go outside with my friends and play and stuff like that. Who wants to be sitting there beating cake? But I had to do it. As she said, beat that cake, I had to beat that cake. You know, it's different to the kids say, like my kids be, Mommy, I'm tired, my hands hurt. I could not say that to my grandmother. I had to beat that cake. And if you're from the islands, you know exactly what I'm talking to. Okay, guys, now my butter and sugar has been beaten here for a little while. So I want to go on to the next step. And what I'm going to do is get my flour together and set it aside. So everything is going to be 2 pounds. So in here I have 2 pounds of flour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sieve it over here. Okay, that is my 2 pounds of flour. Let me move this away from here. To this, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of allspice, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and 1 teaspoon of salt. You put all that in there. Now over here I have 1.5 tablespoon of baking powder. I'll put that in there, and then I have my spoon, and I'm gonna mix everything up so everything become combined together. So now I'm gonna put my raisins. This is like a little less than a cup of raisins. I'm gonna put my raisins in here because the baking powder is already in here. So let's see, guys, if this works. I'm gonna mix everything up together, And then I'm gonna set this aside. Maybe, okay. So my flour I set aside. So now let's concentrate on the eggs. Now normally when I'm baking a cake, I put 8 eggs in my cake. I grew up in the islands where my grandma used a whole dozen eggs, but I'm not using a dozen, I'm using 8 cakes. 8 eggs, which means I need 16 because I have 2 pounds. But I am short 1 egg. I looked in the refrigerator, was like, oh, I only have 15 instead of 16, so we're gonna use 15 eggs instead. You can use less eggs, it's okay. I just grew up in a generation where they use a lot of eggs, so I'm doing the same thing. Because I see people sometimes make cake and they just put like 4 eggs, okay? So it's up to you, all right? So now let me go ahead. I have my nice eggs here. I'm gonna go ahead and break these eggs. These are my eggs right here. And to my eggs, I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of vanilla. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of almond essence. And I'm gonna go ahead and beat these eggs until they're nice. Oh, wait a minute before. And the last thing I'm gonna add into here is 2 lemon peel that I have. I just peeled these off with 2 lemons. I'm just gonna drop those in there. And what these are gonna do is just to help cut the rawness of the egg. I'm gonna beat the skin up in here, the lemon skin up with the eggs, and when it's done, when I'm finished, then I will combine the eggs to my batter, the sugar and the butter, okay? So let me get started on this. I'll show you first right here, see, it is nice and fluffy like whipped cream, and when I touch it, the sugar has melted, okay? So now what I'm going to do is turn this back on and slowly beat it, and I'm gonna add my eggs into here. I'm gonna just slowly pour it in a little bit at a time and just let it beat up there, and I'm gonna continue to do this. And then the next thing we're gonna be doing is adding our flour. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I just emptied the eggs and the butter sugar in this big bowl. Make sure you have a nice good big bowl for that. And now what I'm gonna do is start to add my flour mixture here along with my raisins. So this is a test, guys, to see if these raisins are gonna be distributed throughout, okay? So I'm gonna start by putting some of my flour in here. And you're gonna keep adding in your flour as needed. This is the batter here. So I still have more flour to put in here, and this is the texture, as you can see what it looks like. So what I have in here is 1/2 cup of evaporated milk and 1/2 cup of water. So I mix it together. So this is half and half, half water, half evaporated milk. So I'm just gonna pour this in here. And you can slowly pour it in. And just mix this in. Now we're gonna add the rest of our flour in here. And just continue to mix. And just basically just folding it in. That's all I'm doing, folding it in. I'll put the rest of my flour in here, and that's it. That's it. I'm gonna just continue to mix this in, and then I'll get my pans together. Okay guys, so this is my batter here. This is all done. This is the texture of it, okay? And the spoon stand up in the center, because I see some people say, oh, people say if the spoon stand up in the center, it is all done. I don't know, friend. Anyway guys, I'm gonna put this aside for a minute. And now I have here some pans that I already greased and put some flour inside of it. So I'm gonna take this one right here, dust this out. So what you do is you grease your pan with some butter, then you take some flour and you just put inside of it, and make sure it goes all over, so you get it all over, because you don't want your cake to stick to the bottom of your pan. And that's it. And then you dust it out. I have a couple more here that I have already. These I'm going to be giving away. So I already so now what I'm going to do is pour my batter into my pans. I'm going to start with this big pan right here. And oh, it's heavy. Just put these over here. I'm just going to pour some in here. I might not even need all those pans, but we'll see. I want it to drop on the table. So obviously that can hold some more in there. That's not enough. That's good. You don't want to bring it all the way up to the top because you want to leave room for it to rise. So let me put that aside, and I'm going to go with this one right here. Probably want to use that other pan right there. I'm going to put some in here. I'm going to put some in here because this is for a friend of mine. Oh. I can see these raisins here trying to clump together. You gotta keep stirring, guys. You don't want your raisins to clump together. Okay, it's a little bit high there, so that's good. Put some more in here. Okay guys, so these are the cakes ready for the oven. So before you put your cakes in the oven, you just kind of make sure everything is, I do the same thing over here, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and put these cakes in the oven. My oven right now is set for 350. I'm gonna leave it at 350 for about 15 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna put it to 275. Now set your alarm, and I'm gonna check them in 30 minutes to see, because remember this is a small cake here, so this is not gonna take as long. So don't forget to check in 30 minutes, check them to see how they're going, and then when they come back, I'll tell you exactly how long it took. I will be back in a few minutes. Guys, the cake is all done. Here it is. It was in the oven for about an hour and about 30 minutes. I had the oven at 350, and then I lowered it for about 15 minutes, and then I lowered it to 275, and I just left it in there so it could take its time to cook. Now, as you can see around here, around the edge around here, when it was the edge stuck to the pan a little bit. Even though I had greased and flour, it stuck to the pan. So I put a knife in there to kind of, to loosen it. So you'll see that it cut off a little around the edge. Just want to explain that to you. Okay, so let me go ahead and cut it and see what it tastes like. See that, guys? That's your cake. Okay, let me go ahead and taste it for you. I know I put a big piece on here. No, that's a good cake. This is good. I'm gonna enjoy this cake. This is my holiday cake. I'll give some to some friends because I baked a lot. And the rest I will enjoy until after Christmas. And after Christmas, I would stop enjoying cake. Guys, I had fun making this, and I hope you guys had fun watching. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave me a comment. And guys, if you're watching the video and you get this far and you like what you see and you have not subscribed already, just go ahead and press the subscribe button and just hit that bell notification so every time I put a video up, you will be notified of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I had fun, and I hope you have fun making some cakes for the holiday, and I wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. Until next time, bye-bye.